Hi, everyone. Welcome to episode one. My name is Michael Wong, and I'm one of your co-hosts for the Gluten-Free Organic Thoughts podcast. Welcome back. And today we have a very special guest, our first guest actually of the podcast, Mr. Sean White. And obviously, always with us, my co-host, Robert Din.
That's me. I'm Robert. Hey guys. We have Sean here. Sean's my best friend. Sorry Wong. But Sean's my
Fine.
best
He's
friend.
a good friend of mine, okay?
We met. We all met at the University of Florida. So yeah, Sean, tell us a little about yourself and what you want people to know.
Yeah, so met these guys back in 2006 at University of Florida, and somehow we're still friends despite all of the crap that we've been through and the
A lot
amount
of
that
crap.
the amount that we hate Wong.
I mean, it's
Equal
yeah.
equal agreement on the level of hate for Wong, but
It's a
so,
hate and
yeah.
love relationship, okay?
Yeah.
You can't get rid of me, so don't worry about that.
Emphasis on the hate, but yeah,
No,
there's love there.
emphasis on the can't get rid. That's what it
That's for
Like
sure.
genital warts.
is.
Well, let's not go that far.
Yeah, but not much. I mean, just been with these guys for a long time.
You're a true ACR though, man, right? You gotta tell people you're a true ACR, so.
Not really a true ACR. So born in Baltimore, Maryland. Lived there for about 6 years. Then moved to North Carolina. Lived there for about 6 years, and then did about 10 years in Gainesville. Did middle school, high school, college, and then got the heck out.
Got the heck out for sure.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah,
After school, it's like really nothing to do in Gainesville, so
I mean, there's Walmart.
there's one
No,
more.
hey, listen, Gainesville's changed a lot though, guys. You guys gotta go back. I just went last year for a football game. Let me tell you, they got a Top Golf.
Juan goes back to UF
Every
so
year.
much. I've never seen someone go back to their old school
I mean,
so
it's for
much.
football games. You gotta go back at least once a year. So, you know.
I don't know. I never went to any of the football games until I graduated.
You never went to a football game?
No, I never went to a football game. It was probably because I never won the lottery, and I think it was just
Oh, it
karma.
was so
'Cause-
hard back in the days to win the lottery. It was
Yeah,
a
because
mission.
if I was
Yeah.
gonna win the lottery, I was gonna sell it because it was like easy money.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like
I think I won the lottery every year I was there though. I won the lottery every year.
But you
sold,
never went to the game.
sold off the main tickets. No, I didn't go to most of the games. I worked at the stadium, so I got paid to be at the stadium
you
instead of like going to the games and paying for the tickets. Yeah.
All right.
So after school, where'd you head to, Sean?
after school, I got a little homesick and decided to go back to Maryland. That was primarily driven because did an internship with Under Armour. Ended up working there for about 7 years. Cut my teeth in supply chain, and it's been great since then. Went to Amazon, went to Levi, and now on to another mid startup. So
Nice.
been pretty good 10-year career.
Yeah, you've been in San Francisco like 2 years now, right? Two?
More than that, right?
Been 2 years?
Just over 2 years. Just over
Yeah.
2 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so he's a neighbor. I go down the street to see him whenever I can. Yeah, so let's get on to the ranting session.
For the week, yeah, let's do that. What
Who
do you
wants
have
to
for us,
start?
Robert?
You want me to
You go
start?
first. Yeah,
Oh
of
my
course.
god. So today, I went and bought some lights from Amazon and they didn't work the way I wanted them to. Like they're the smart lights or whatever. So I went to return them and they said go drop it off at a UPS store. So I went at like 9, 10 o'clock, probably 10 o'clock ish, and there was literally two of us in the UPS store, and the guy in front of me was getting a notary, but it took the guy 25 minutes to get his book out so that he can like do everything that he needed to do the notary. I sat there, I was like, there's nobody here. He's been open for at least an hour or two. So like, what is he taking so long to get this paperwork together just to sign the notary? I don't understand. I was pissed off. And then once it was my turn, I was like, here, can you scan this? And they scanned it and I was out. I was like, I had to wait 25, 30 minutes for this guy, and then my thing took 3 seconds.
Sean, do you have
Yeah.
one? Do you have a rant for the
No,
week?
they definitely have to get better. Like that happens entirely too often when I go to UPS. Literally, I'm always there returning something from Amazon because that's what you do. Um, but yeah, it's always one person right in front of you that just like needs to do something stupid. You go, Wong. I got a good
So,
rant.
all right. So
All
my
right.
rant, it's kind of lead from last week a little bit more, but this week is more about, no, at least in my news feed. I'm not sure about your news feed, but I've seen videos of people just bitch. Well, I could say bitching, right? So it's our podcast. So just complaining about literally not able to breathe through masks and it's killing people. I'm like, really?
Oh, that lady. She was like,
Oh
it's
my,
literally
oh my
killing
God,
people.
the West Palm Beach one. And dude, seriously, the video in West Palm Beach one, and I'm like, listen, doctors and nurses have been wearing masks for 12 hours a day for the past who knows how long, and you don't see them complaining about it. And they're all there is asking us to is to wear a mask literally for only a couple hours during the public sex, when you're out with people in general.
Yeah.
And so for me, it just gets me annoying. I'm like, are you guys?
Yeah,
Wow.
I'm like never on Facebook anymore. But I saw that and I had to repost it and be like, "What are you guys doing in Florida?" Like it's like Florida is the only people I know that are like, "Oh, I'm gonna go
It's
and
so
like
bad.
talk to whoever's making these rules and tell them that they're wrong, like telling doctors that they're
And they
wrong."
have the time to do it. They have the time to actually go to the commissioner's city, sit in this, in this city council meeting to actually wait in line to actually talk about this. I'm like, don't you guys have to work?
There was also that one lady that was like, "I have to let my vagina breathe so like we should let our mouths breathe too." Like
Yeah.
what the I don't
That was in the
understand.
video.
Vagina breath matters.
Oh man.
Oh.
All right, that's enough for me. Oh,
All right, cool. All right, so my rant is this article popped up in my news feed or Google feed. This guy was talking about during COVID, it's forced him to go through his aged wine collection. This
Oh.
this guy decided to start collecting wine at age 14. The
Oh.
beginning of the article begins with, when I was 14, I felt like a 23-year-old man trapped in a 14-year-old's body. It was our third trip to Europe that year, and I picked up my first bottle of wine in France. And it was just like,
Must be
wow,
nice.
must be nice.
Must be nice, man.
14 years old, and you're going to France for the third time this year, or going
For
to
the
Europe
third time to pick up a bottle of wine.
for the third time this year. I don't
Man.
know. Like it just like really got under my skin. Because it's just like everything that's going on. Black Lives Matter, like people getting killed. And people just don't understand what's going on. It's like, well, people that grow up in impoverished communities aren't thinking about the third time that they went to Europe that year when they're 14.
That's true.
They're like,
Yeah.
somebody that's traveled the world has a completely different mindset of what they want to do, what they can do, what they could possibly do. While somebody that's growing up in the projects doesn't even know that like radio stations don't change when you go outside of like the city. So
Yeah.
They might not even know where France is. They're like,
yeah,
this guy's been
They're
there 3
respected.
times. Is that next to Mexico somewhere?
No, it is true though. And like you said, segueing to the topic of the day, like there's so much going on today. It's just, first of all, actually, I want to ask you, how you're digesting it. Second part of it, throw your perspective at this, right? I mean, I think each of us has their own perspective. I feel like, just to hear about it, just talk about it. I feel like among friends, it's kind of one. I think it's a hard conversation to have. I noticed that with different Patrick groups. I'm not sure if you guys had a conversation among other different small circle of friends.
Yeah.
But
It's actually like, Sean, I've never even asked you about like how like you're feeling about all this stuff. So yeah, it'd be nice to hear what you have to say, what your take is on stuff.
yeah. The short of it is it sucks, but I mean, at the end of the day, it's just like there's a lot of things that are broken. And it's all coming to light now, and it just seems like it's great. We're protesting. A lot of the protests have gotten non-violent, but it's just like, is this going to continue and is it going to materialize to anything?
Yeah.
I think it's great for people to march. I think it's great for people to protest. But unless people are actually voting in local
Yeah,
elections,
areas.
like
Yep.
going to their like commissioners or like city officials and like making sure that they're like taking care of their communities, making sure that all of that works up. It starts from the bottom up, and that's the best way to fix it. And this isn't an
I agree.
issue that came out of like 4 years of Trump being in power. Like this is hundreds of years of problems, and it's
Yeah.
gonna take a long time to fix. And I just hope that everyone is in it for the long haul and not just like, oh, there's a nice little fad. Let's get behind it. Let's
It
go
could
to this
be it
march.
could be also a little bit of like everyone's at home, so they have
Yeah,
nothing else to do. So like it got a little bit more storm than it would have.
But
But it's nice that like I feel like more people are being more understanding and taking a closer look at things than what we've seen in the past, right? The past few years when all this stuff
yeah.
has also gone down.
But
well,
a
the thing
lot
is
of it is
that
because like everyone's at home and there's nothing else to do. Like I mean, COVID's not going anywhere because there's Florida to fuck it up for us. But let's just assume like COVID went away and like we went back to work. Like a lot of these people, non-black people that are or non-minorities that are involved in the process, I can see that easily like lingering and just attention getting driven back to things that are more in their sphere right now. Like this is what's on TV. There's no sports. There's no new movies. There's no new shows.
Yeah.
Like this is what's hot. So like everyone sees it. But things get going again. Like people go back to watching Friends and whatever, and they're like, all right, forget about the minorities. I
You
don't
know
really
what?
care.
I'm still watching Friends, so let's
Ugh,
pump the brakes on that.
ugh. Never seen one episode of Friends.
Wow,
really,
then
you never seen one
how can you
episode?
be so
I know
negative
you
on
can't
it?
judge. You can't judge about that. You haven't seen one episode.
All right, I've seen enough of it. And there's
Okay.
Joey. There's a guy on the show named Joey, and there's no black people on the show.
That's true.
That
No,
is
the
very
waitress.
true.
They live in New York. There's no
That's true.
black people. There's no Hispanics. No nothing really.
They're all side characters, just like in the United
No, no,
States.
no, 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 no. No, Seinfeld. They were side characters. They were minorities. I haven't watched
Listen,
the
even
show. I can't.
even Boy Meets World has a black person. Okay, so
Yeah,
yeah,
Yeah.
that's true. I
but
agree with you.
they waited until they went to college to add her in though.
No, she was in high school there too.
In
Okay, it was like late. It was super super late. It was
Maybe
just,
I don't know. It wasn't the first season, obviously. I know
Right,
that.
right,
You're
right.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, let's stop. Going back to your conversation topic. The thing is that like, I think you're right. Part of it is that there is more attention to it now, and everybody's actually it's because they may be at home. But I also think. Do you think? I personally think that it's also election year. Do you think this could be part of the attention they try to bring as well? Because obviously these movements have been going on for a while, but now that we're more focused on it, because like you said, there's no sports in there. It's more kind of under the microscope, right? And part of it is obviously, you want to make sure that this keeps going on. It doesn't just die down, and it actually brings changes. But at least I think for the first time, I've seen actually even companies' policies or even locals are just at least trying to bring the conversation into more and more involved. At least personally, I think. I mean, I've been in a corporation for like 7 years now, 8 years now. So
I also
yeah,
think it's
but a lot of those, my bad, a lot of those commercials are like coming up because a lot of people are struggling. Like I think I noticed like I can't remember what the HBO show was, but it was like one of the shows that was ending, and they started doing a commercial about like mental health. It's like we know what people are losing their jobs, we know it's rough, like, but you just got to stick in here. Like here, call these lines. Like things are rough. It's okay to feel depressed about things. That came up because non-minorities were starting to feel stressed. Like this happens all the times for like minorities that live from trailer parks to
yep, that's
projects,
true.
and
Yeah,
no one cares. But like a lot of
that's
the
true.
focus is just like being stretched out to like, hey, how are you guys feeling? And then I just don't really know if it's going to continue after things change.
We'll
yeah.
see. Only one way to find out, though.
I just think that like like just looking at it compared to the previous uh protests that have happened, like this one feels like there's less politics behind it. Just because I don't know, it feels like the George Floyd situation was like so horrible, right? Like it was like way ridiculous how bad that police officer handled everything.
Uh,
And that doesn't mean
but
like the past ones weren't bad. It just meant like this one was just like way over the top. I just felt like it was just
I just can't agree with that because like honestly, I look at that one and I watch the video. It was bad. It's horrible.
Yep.
But the kid that got killed in uh, Ohio,
Yeah,
he
that
was
was
like a
bad.
12-year-old
yeah.
kid with a toy gun.
Yeah.
He got
Yeah,
shot
that was
by a
bad
cop.
too.
Like, and that got no pub. And not to like disrespect like LeBron, but LeBron was playing in Cleveland at that time, and he didn't like say anything about it. Like, it's just like this. George Floyd is horrible. Should have never died. But like, there's been worse incidents, and it
I
hasn't
agree.
really sparked anything. The common denominator right now is that everyone's at home and everyone's feeling a lot of other emotions about the
Mhm.
economy and losing their job and stuff. So what happens when that changes? Do the companies that like have built these D&I departments, do they continue to fund them? They're like, oh well, we've done enough now. Like we'll just keep this department off to the side. Oh, we've hired enough minority candidates. We're okay, and it just goes back to business as normal. I hope that
That's
that's not the case, but I mean,
Yeah.
past is a better predictor of like future performance, and
that's true.
uh,
And
I
I completely agree with that part though. I mean, at least from what I've seen in terms of corporation wise recruiting things like that, I think every company has its own set of policies. At least for me, both of the consulting firms I worked at, I actually worked in the diversity recruiting, so they've been pretty strong about that. At least from my end, in terms of so we were fairly enough. Just for us, wasn't that change to be honest. We already had all the stuff in place, but for talking to our other clients and talking to like their CFO, the CEO, the COO, we did surveys and stuff. Let me tell you, they had to do some dramatic change. So like some companies, like we said, may have to adapt quickly. And it may be just once off. We don't know. Part of it is also is that I think the employees will has to hold accountable in order to make sure this movement goes on right within their own culture. Every company is going to be different, so it's just like outside of the world culture. I think socially we have to all hold ourselves accountable. Just in general, just try to be a better human being. I think the word what's called empathy here it has to play a role in that part. I think in general it just comes down to is like can you be a freaking human decent being,
that's
you
right?
true.
know, I don't
We'll
know.
we'll
His
see.
history's shown that Americans generally can't, and it doesn't really matter whether what race. Like,
I agree.
black
I
people have
completely,
been crappy. Like white people have been crappy. Like,
yeah, I agree.
yeah,
I completely agree. I think it could be a culture of selfish. Agree. It could be a culture of a bunch of stuff, like mixed together, things like that. To be honest. So, but I mean, obviously, this movement has sparked and led to like the whole defunding the police situation, right? So, what do you think about that topic in terms of like, what do you think about the slogan of that, or what it takes? What have you heard? Just wondering from
think,
your view.
I think it's a horrible idea. Um,
Meaning,
I think it's bad to defund the police. I think we need the police. I think the organization it serves a good purpose. I think rather than defunding the police, well the big thing that
well, it's a
people are pushing,
slogan though, Sean. It's
yeah,
a slogan though, yeah.
yeah, the big thing that people are pushing with the defund the police is, hey, our teachers are getting not getting paid enough. Let's take money from the police and give it to the school system. I think it doesn't have to be one or the other. Like we need money and police that are taking care of our communities. We also need to fund the schools. Like it shouldn't be 30, 40 to one teacher. Like that just doesn't make sense.
I agree with that part.
But
Yeah.
you also shouldn't take more money from like police because there's certain precincts where people are getting paid $30,000, $40,000 a
Yep.
year to kind of risk their life or do a job that actually takes training.
Right.
I don't think you want to send somebody out with a gun. you wouldn't send a doctor. You wouldn't go to the operating room with a doctor that's getting paid like $40,000-$50,000 a year and be like,
And
okay,
with
I
one
feel
year of
comfortable.
training, with one
Yeah.
year of training.
1 year training.
It,
And then
it's
it's
that,
like 1 year
how
training and
much
then
less?
no
Yeah.
retraining.
Actually, you want something
Yeah.
really funny though? Like I was looking up what's the requirement to become a cop right here. Check this out. So in order to become a cop, you
Hey,
must
send me the link
have,
and I can show the people.
yeah, you at least here. You must have some kind of college degree to a certain degree or some college credit, but not every single local state might have that. And one of the key thing is that you have to go through 1 year of at least a police academy before you can, go out in the field. And one of the and people don't realize this is actually not much. Listen, even to be an EMT, you need 2 years of just training, and then you need part of those 2 years. You need at least a year of just kind of be on the field training, and then before you could do that, then you had to pass all the exam. You got to pass a different scenario, situation test because you're the first responder. And for me, I think being a cop, you are the first responder as well. So therefore, I think you're right. For me, I definitely agree with you on that part that taking the money out of the police fund, especially to address the short-term solution, because your current staff right now needs the most training, needs the situation awareness. And I think using technology, using VR simulation, I think that could even enhance their awareness more because keep in mind the last maybe 4 or 5 decades, who truly has become the police? People who just maybe didn't want to go to college, right? Either people just came out of the military or people just didn't, probably maybe it could be a part of college dropout or part someone just who just want to impact life. But at the end of the day, most of the people don't have the necessary background or awareness to kind of handle, certain situation. But and
Yeah,
because they risk their life.
yeah, it's a city job. Like it's a city government job. Like you're guaranteed like money.
Yep.
Some of those cities like you end up with a
Pension.
pension.
Yeah.
Like it makes a lot of sense for like untrained labor based on like what you have to do and considering the city. Like it's a no brainer. Like, oh, I didn't make it into college. Like,
Yep.
why not do this?
Right.
And not to take it to fantasy, but like The Wire, great example of what happens when you defund the police system. Season 4, they pretty much had to fund the school system instead of funding the police because grades were dropping. So they took money out of the police system. They were pretty much saying, hey, you guys got to continue to work, continue to keep the numbers down, but we're going to pay you overtime later. That ends up having the cops go out. They're frustrated. They're angry. They're either one moonlighting as security people
Yep.
On outside of that, or just going into work pissed off and like, hey, somebody like ran a stop sign.
Just makes it worse. Yeah.
I'm a crap.
Makes it
I'm
worse,
gonna mess them up.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like you can't. You can't do that, especially when people are already kind of underpaid.
They're
don't-
venting. They have
There's-
feelings too. The cops. I mean, at the end of the day, they're human beings, right?
Yeah.
And so, but I feel like give them a chance to adjust their own training situation. See what you gotta. But this again, it has to come from local governments to kind of push that issue as well. And I think the funding situation has to come within and bottom up because at the end of the day, it needs to revamp. I think right now already looking for candidates to be a police is already hard enough, but also like if you can't right now, you need to address the short-term solution and you also need to address the long-term solution, and it has to come from both sides. And
Yeah,
But
how do
short
you do
term-
that? What's the incentive? Like if you
So
think
the
about it,
incentive
like
is-
you think about it in most situations, like the mayor and maybe some of the city council are like kind of what runs the city, and they have
Yeah.
a lot of power over the police department. Like it's a huge ship and a lot of pieces that you have to
Well,
move
Sean,
around before you
think
can
about
fix
this though.
anything.
Also, the union though, some of the city police and unions also kind of help funds the re-election for some of the mayors and city council as well. And so there's a little weird, dynamic going on there, right? I mean, right now they're being using some of those situation right now. So now it's getting more actually, more visible in that situation. So, and how do you stop that as well? Part of that, right? It's kind of like, hey, I can help you raise some money for your election coming up next. Just gotta help us out a little bit here. How do you stop that in a sense too as well? Like not
Yeah.
even stop,
A few things, right? Like first of all, like you were talking about short term. Short term, who wants to be a cop like right now? Like I
Well,
I
who
don't
are
know.
cops right now though?
No, but like who are you going to like at this point in time? I don't think there's anybody who's like, oh, I'm gonna be a cop.
That's
That's what I
true.
want to do because of all of the backlash that's going on right now.
Yep.
Um, but secondly, like San Francisco, they came out with a plan recently to say, oh, we're going to not send police officers out to non-violent calls to 911. They're also going to get rid of things like tanks and assault rifles, which why do local police have tanks? Like, what are they spending their money on? Like, why are they spending money on this instead of like towards training, right? Where they could have like they could put people into like situational training so that they can be ready for any of these situations that come up, right? And I feel like there's been such mismanagement of funds
Well,
as
there should
well.
be different tiers, right? So there should be. So check this out. So I was just looking at the state of Orlando, just the way how they structured the police departments, all that. Check this out. So let me send you the link. It's actually in their budget. It's pretty cool to see that. And and so you can see, what kind of patrolling they have, things like that. And one of the things is that again, you can look at the police every single city up, right? And the way how they handle the budget, how they spend the money, and it's definitely interesting to see. Give me a second. Let me pull this up right now.
Oh, I see it right here.
Yeah.
Let me share it to
Uh,
people. This is city of Orlando. Okay.
yep. So so scroll down to page actually 284.
284 pages in this?
283. Yes. 283. It's a budget, man. It's not that bad. Have you seen LA's budget? It's worse than
Also,
this.
like all of these things that have anything to do with like politics or any type of thing like this, I think they're all like overwritten. Who's gonna read
Well,
through all this shit?
it's the whole city planning though. It's budgets everything though. Like literally anything you could think of. So
Yeah,
all right.
280, 284,
Yeah, 284, I believe, or 280. Sorry, 271. 271. Scroll up to 271. Sorry.
271.
Yeah.
All right.
If you look at the page number, that PDF page number is 271. So,
Oh, okay.
yeah. So, Sean, can you see it?
No.
Okay. So it tells you, who the chief administrator is and how to break down this to support services, communications, special forces, school patrol, North Patrol, East Patrol, West Patrol. And then if you go to the next page, it tells you how much money each section is spending. So one of the things is that, part of the really, I think for the short-term solution, it needs to be different sections of, like you mentioned, right, on responding to non-911 call. I think it could be a collateral work where you have your patrol people plus your, let's say, quote unquote community service patrols, which we do have that in Orlando, where it can handle the non-violent ones.
Wait, are these actual numbers or in millions or in
millions.
thousands? These are in thousands.
I feel it's in millions or thousands. Let me check. It tells you in the bottom.
Oh, at the bottom. Oh, at the bottom here.
It's actually in millions. Yeah.
This is in millions, so there's like. Okay.
But anyway, it tells you the breakdown of certain just the way it's staffed, right? I think every local area should look at this and how to identify how can you break down. Do you really need this much patrol, or do you need to add on to something more to this? And I think part of it is that currently is each officer trained enough to react to certain situation. I think using VR technology-wise, it can dramatically help this, just because you can see how people react to certain behavior, things like that. But I'm talking about the violence side of things. Obviously, this is not going to stop right away. To be honest, the what's called the racial profiling, it won't. I just don't think it will. I think part of it is you may emphasize the training for that piece, but it's just
one thing that could stop it pretty quick. I mean, it's not something that can happen, but like you have to get out the old blood.
Oh,
I'm not
that's
saying that the
also a
old
problem.
I'm not saying that the old blood is particularly racist, but like they're set on, hey, all I need to do is this. I need to hit this clearance rate. I need to like make sure I keep homicides below this number. I need to make sure that like drugs are at this level, and that's all they care about. And it's not just the lieutenants and the sergeants or the chiefs. It's like it's all the way up. So like, how do you just clear out all of that dead blood? I mean,
But I don't think all
not
the
to
all
jump
bloods
it.
are bad though.
I mean, yeah, but like, how do you sift it out? I'm not saying just go in and like take out everybody at upper management and just like pull in, but like you need an independent third party to kind of come in
Audit
and
this.
find a way to do an audit
Yeah.
to fix it, because
I was gonna,
you can't keep the old people in and expect them to like, oh, because of pressure do like new things, because all they're gonna do is find a way to, the way they kept their job and moved up
yeah.
in the ranks is
Actually,
sugarcoat the numbers. So they're
funny
just
thing
gonna
you mentioned
sugarcoat the
that though.
numbers now.
It's
Yeah.
funny thing you mentioned that, Sean. That like the audit thing. To be honest though, you know they self-police themselves, right?
Yeah,
Yeah. And so part of it is that I think having a third party audit in terms of that's not related to the city, that's not related to the police force, to audit the process and the policies to see how they do stuff, to be honest, and to see how the training has been adapt and changed. Definitely, I think that's money spent though. That you cannot take money out of the police fund for do that. You need to let them hire the, at least hire that third party to do that, to identify those changes or not, the publishers report, make it public, right? At the end of the day, treat it like a business, like a company, because they work for us, they work for the taxpayer money. Just like your public traded company, you have those quarterly reports. Is the same exact concept. You should be able to treat them like that. And that's just why you have the IT audit, the audit process, and also the tax audit as well. How, to be honest, part of this is that you need to see how they're spending the money on a quarterly basis. Right now, we don't even see that.
yeah, but the whole thing is it gets real complicated because a lot of cities, states run at a deficit.
Of
Like
course.
there's schools that are at a deficit. There's police departments that are at a
Yeah.
deficit. Like, I mean, it's just a really like it. We can attack the thing and say, hey, defund the police or like audit the police, but
Yep.
it
Is it real? Is it real?
the country's a bit broken. The country's a bit broken.
That's
Like
true.
we failed up for a long time, but at some point we're just gonna fucking fail down. Like it's
Yeah.
not gonna
I mean,
work.
to be honest though, one of the reasons why I think Florida opened up is because we were running on unemployment money fund. So I kept an eye on that. Risk Scott was a genius plan to kind of screw that us over for us, and now we've seen that being paid off right now. Because to be honest though, I think DeSantis has done a great job to get as much federal aid as possible. But right now, and the reason it took, listen, it took. I know some people took them over 6 weeks for unemployment to kick in. 6 weeks. And it's that it took that long because they didn't have enough funding in a sense, man.
Yeah, but the whole thing is like who has money for that? Like I think we, you know, have a little bit of that. Like we can handle a couple months of not getting paid.
But not
But
many
like,
people can though.
but like you extrapolate that to a lot of people. A lot of people don't have. They're living paycheck to paycheck and like literally paycheck to paycheck.
Yeah.
And the people that are
Like-
losing jobs right now are the ones that are
Yeah.
hurt the most with like 2 months off, right? Like those are
Correct.
the people that get hurt the most just having no job. Like if we didn't have a job for 2 months, maybe we'd be okay for a couple of months. But these people who are losing their jobs are the ones that are the ones that are
paycheck.
like the worst off
Yeah.
from it.
And well, the thing is that so I think there's going to be 3 tiers of people losing their jobs. Right now, we saw the first tier, which is we call, those are your typical waiters, the lower paying jobs. The next tier is going to be corporation stuff, because I started seeing right now corporations already starting letting go of people, and we're going to see that for the next 2 quarters, and then eventually it's
Nike
going to be
just announced that they're gonna do like high level layoffs.
Yeah.
really.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Deloitte announced 2,500 layoff last month already, and I know that what's called a lot of retail stuff has already announced a layoff as well. So
I think it's like Intuit announced layoffs recently too.
yeah,
Like
and so like literally you're gonna start seeing corporations back to back quarters probably like that, and then eventually it's gonna hit the local governments where they're gonna realize, crap, I don't have that much money. They might have to start laying off staffs as well. To be honest, we're gonna see that as it gets closer to election. But I mean, I don't want to take the time from this topic defunding the police, though. Going back into that, I think you're right. What is considered as realistic solution for short term versus long term? And you're right. Part of it, they may not have the money to do the audit, and
Yeah, I mean, but like beyond the audit, like Ben said, like there's a lot of things that we need to work out. Like, why do they need tanks? Like,
Yep.
there's a lot of duplicated resources. Like you don't need tanks for local police departments.
I agree.
like yeah, maybe they need assault rifles,
Yeah,
but
maybe,
like
but like
I
that's
don't
being for
know.
like
Like
their SWAT
I'm
team or something,
yeah,
right? Like
yeah,
a
yeah.
very specific use. Like you don't need that many of them.
Yeah,
I
but like
listened
when
to
you have
another.
issues like that, bring in like another agent, bring in the National Guard, and like they should have the tanks, like they should have
Yeah,
like
I
the
completely agree.
higher
Right,
artillery.
right. Yeah,
So
I listened to another podcast, and one of the guys was a gun guy, and he's read through a lot of the laws, and he said that he went up to police and were like, "Oh, if you guys just fill out this form, you can get these assault rifles." And they didn't know about, but all they have to do is fill out a form, and they could get like a certain number of assault rifles just because of being a police or being like in their situation. So like a lot of these rules are very easy to like have them just like, oh, if you need it, we'll just give it to you type of situations.
so
Yeah, but then again, that goes to the like the education level. Like someone that recreationally has money to buy assault rifles, probably in a better position than some of the cops that are like college
that's
grads, potentially college dropouts, just got
No,
their
he was saying he was
GED.
telling them like the police department could also have these same guns that he had. They
Yeah,
just
yeah.
have to fill out a form. That's
yeah,
what he was saying.
The
yeah.
easy
But that's what I'm
access to
saying.
that.
Like
It
a
was
lot of
very
people
easy
just don't
access.
know.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they just didn't know.
Yeah. Well, I'm also too okay. My biggest question is that as decrease of total crime rate has dropped throughout the country. I mean, I'm just looking at an example of Orlando, right? The past couple of years, it's been dropped 5-6%, yet the budget has been increasing significantly by 10%. So what are you using the money for, right?
They need more
And so
tanks.
who knows? You might be right on that part. But I mean, I'm just analyzing Orlando. So I also looked at Santa Monica as well. I looked at LA, and I'm like, crime has been decreasing literally over 10% for most of the cities in average, at least those cities I just mentioned. And the budgets have increased dramatically. I'm like, why do you guys need more this kind of stuff? And to see the money spending on that, like, I mean, listen, I get it. Equipment's vehicle maybe every 10 years. But what else? I mean, like, I just feel like using the money the way they use the money currently right now is not wise. I think definitely needs a third party audit for that right off the back, though. To be honest, I think that part once you know what the problem is, the real problem, and then you can
but
start.
this goes back to who's gonna push that. Like we know that
It
the
has to be.
government's
It
wrongly
has to be
using
low.
money. Like yeah, but how? And it goes back
Yeah.
to like my earlier statement. It's like we want a lot of things to change, but
Yeah.
we need people to get behind it. We don't need people marching in the streets. We need people going out to the polls and voting on things and saying no,
Yeah.
we don't want this commissioner because this commissioner has pushed this and that and the third, and none of it has come back to like help our community. But like
People are not
until
voting though in general. You know, right? America, the average people showing up for local polls voting is less than 40%.
yeah.
It's
But honestly,
horrible.
like if like when you vote, it feels like it doesn't count. Like that's how it works. Like when I go and vote, I'll put my vote in, but like I feel so small when I'm voting. Like it just feels like it doesn't really matter.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
just how
Like
that's how the feeling
I
is
think
when you're voting.
yeah, I think I voted local for the first time like last year, and like I read up on everything and like voted. Literally everything that I voted for, it went way in the
The
other on
opposite.
the
The
other
opposite
side. Yeah,
direction.
Really,
Yeah.
that's
and it's just
crazy.
like what do I do at that
Yeah,
point?
like it's like what are you supposed to do? Because like it feels like the system is broken. The
Yeah,
system of us voting for people or things is just it just feels broken because we don't feel like empowered to do anything because it's just not worth it.
Well,
yeah, and
also
then at the
too,
same time, it's like I like the people that are going out and marching. It's like I think it's great, but like I don't. I mean, right now I do have the time because we're all working remote and working from home.
yep.
But like on a normal circumstance, like I don't have time to like just take off and go and march.
Right,
I
right.
don't have also have time to like go out and build out a campaign or a group to kind of say like, hey, these are the issues. Like educate people up on like what our local government is actually doing. So like it kind of like Robert was saying, it's like I feel defeated. It's like what's the point of me voting if like I can't get my word out? Because I'm pretty sure there are people that will logically listen and say, hey, 1 + 1 = 2. But
But Sean, you gotta have some sense of hope though, because I think as the new young blood coming from local government, because those people, the baby boomers, are gonna retire, right? I think the potential of 2024 elections, I think it's gonna be a huge change. We're gonna see a new set of bloods, regardless, at least from that level. But
I mean,
I
I
think
hope
from
so. We've had whiteheads like for forever. Like, get someone who has some like color in their hair, because it's just like Like the old people have just like been in charge for so long, and I feel
Yeah.
like it could be a like a systemic thing as well, because those people are training the people who are
We
coming
know
up
beneath them.
as well.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
if they're training them, like how much is really going to change if this is the way to like
Yeah,
to get
and
something
then
done.
my
But I
big
think
fear
locally
on it
though.
is like what does the new blood look like that does go in? Like I don't know, the new blood like AOC and those other Democrats, like I think they have great intentions, but like
But
they're
I mean,
to
again,
my
I mean, you're
credit, they're
talking about one out of how many, congressmen out there, right? But again, it's just I feel like it will start slowly changing from that perspective. But I'm talking about just the local council. Like, think about it. The reason, one of the reasons why people want to become a city council is just because one, they either want that power, or two, they want something that benefits them. To be honest, most of the time, at least back in the few decades, I mean, it's a very rare chance that they actually want to do something for the benefit of the city sometimes. And
because
if they do,
there's not the money for it. Like you could get if you're smart, you can get paid better doing like another job.
yeah, I agree. The money's not there for it. I completely agree.
So who
But
do we end up getting?
yeah,
Generally speaking, you get people that
but
aren't as educated, aren't as smart, don't
that's
have as
that
much
is
like
true.
problem solving.
It's a city. It's a civil servant job. That's what it is, right?
Yeah,
And it's the same exact thing as when when you have a public defender as well, right? Who usually become the public defenders? It's just first 2 3 years lost. Students coming out of law school to become public defender, who don't know what they're doing. They just want to do it for the experience,
yeah,
and they're super well.
yeah, and then you know what happens. Like the bad ones stay, and they
Yep.
just like build a career there, and the good
Hmm.
ones go out.
Correct.
So
Yeah.
it's like
Go get paid.
They go
yeah,
get paid. Yeah. They go corporate. To be honest, they go corporate. They go private.
Yeah.
yeah.
And that's what. And I completely, in a sense, going back to what Robert was saying, it could be a systematic thing in a sense that okay, so how do we insensitize to those people who want that, to have better job positions, right? Or is throwing money at it is the smartest solution? You know, even
I
if you have
mean,
the option to throw money at it, is that
I,
the
I'm
smartest solution?
I think one big thing is just like finding a way to like cut through the bullshit and give people fair, factual information. Like you listen to Fox News, you get like one story. You listen to CNN, you get another story. Like
Well, that's a different topic you're talking about.
why doesn't BBC get more play? Like they literally are
that's
like
true.
the facts,
I
the
would
facts.
totally like to have like some external external like broadcasting news, because the U.S. news is just killing us.
Garbage. I think.
It's
I
so
think. Okay,
bad.
listen. Misinformation, and it's a whole different topic we could discuss about that. But I mean, part of the conversation of this, though, the whole slogan of defunding the police. Um, Again, I think I do think going back to your original statement, Sean, I definitely disagree with it. I think that there are some short-term solutions they need to address right away. I mean, even Trump signing that order, it was just super soft. I'm sorry, it was super soft in terms of executive order, and that's at a federal level, right? That means the state has to actually enforce it, and that means enforce the locals, and that doesn't mean it's going to get anything done. But just in Roberts, I think just to wrap up, part of this conversation is that I've just been, I think it has addressed, 4 or 5 different phases. Like you said before, how do we kind of audit the process? Two is that where do you see the transparency of the money actually being spent at? You know, three, in terms of who actually wants to become a cop, and part of it is that how do you fix the current staff right now versus the upcoming staff, whether it requires a 2 3 year training, because the necessary situational awareness, whether they want to do in the first place actually or not, right? And how do you get the local government to actually try to push that issue where they don't even have the incentive to do it?
Yeah,
And
I think one thing is like if you if you can start from the top down, you put someone in power that really does care, that really does want to be innovative in tactics, strategies, and like how to build out the police department. I think that's fine, but you have to give them free reign. You have to let them
You have to give them
execute
the
their
ability
plan,
to
and you
do
have
stuff, right?
yeah,
To
you give
be
them the
able to
ability to
do
do
it.
stuff and not like handcuff them and say like, oh, all right, we want you to do all these things, and then be like, but oh, you need to make sure that the numbers look look pretty. You need to make sure everything looks like it's gonna look dirty at the beginning, and people
Yeah,
have to
I
just
agree. I
go in
completely agree.
and acknowledge that it's gonna
Yeah.
be dirty for probably a long time.
Yep. And
But nobody wants that. Nobody wants that.
well, I mean, think about it, right? The people who become sheriffs, the head sheriff, the head police chief officers, they don't want to deal with that because, hey, I didn't become chief officer because I want to do this. I became chief officer because I want to, show my own skill set, right? And I completely agree because, and I think it has to be, one, I think morally has to be done. And I think you're right. Finding the right person who actually has a passion to kind of change that is definitely a key, but it's gonna be hard, especially at the local level, right? And keep in mind, like this been 4, 5, 10 decades of these kind of people trying to be, build up this culture mindset. You're not gonna change a culture overnight.
Yeah, yeah. Like you have to do something dramatic. You need to say like, oh, your term isn't 4 years. Your term is like 8 years. But then what happens if you pick the wrong person? Like,
Right.
Yep.
I don't know. Like I can speak from personal perspective. Is like, I had a great career at Under Armour. Stayed
Yep.
there 7 years. Literally, have been like hopping around trying to find like another good fit. Like it may not happen with the first person you elect, and like, what do you do then?
Yeah, and that's true though.
You just stick with that person for 8 years? No.
No, of course not. Listen, you drive your own happiness, right? At the end of the day, right?
Yeah.
So,
True.
but I mean, part of it that most of these cops don't have, to be honest, kind of like you said, they just love what they do, but some of the good cops may just be stuck in a bad situation. But also part of it is that, in a sense, is that, when I mean, how do you hold them accountable? They have to hold each other accountable first, to be honest. Like if you see, 4 or 5 cops, acting up, whatever it is, and you see one bad apple, you have to call them out.
Yeah,
like,
but how? But how? Like,
How?
but for example,
literally,
I mean,
no. Like, you can't being a cop is not like being in the army.
no,
But
it's
they
like a
do,
frat,
but
though.
they
I
do,
know
but
that.
they do feel like it's brothers in arms. And like, how are you gonna snitch on somebody and like have them lose their job? You lose their career.
It's not necessarily snitch, though.
But
It
it
is.
it is it is.
Right.
But
And
okay, think about this, right? When you watch the George Floyd incident, right? Just going back to that situation, there was 4 cops there, right?
yeah,
Okay, those 3 cops could have done something differently. I'm sorry, they could have reacted something differently.
all right. One of the cops was like new. He was like, I don't know, 3 months in on the job. How is he gonna tell
There was
superior
there was one guy
officer?
that was a couple days on the job.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right. Like.
but
Like, how is
again,
he gonna tell a
that's
superior
part of
officer?
that's
So
part of
take-
training, though.
No. Fuck. Sorry.
No. So even
Like,
even if like
you're
I
not-
like
you're not
I
gonna-
just
you're not
oh,
gonna go
ahead.
like let's take it away. If I'm on a job for 3 days or a month, am I gonna sit there and tell a manager that's been doing the job for 10 years? No. That's not how you do it. You shouldn't do this Excel version this way. I'm not gonna do that in public.
For
while-
that for that many minutes, though, for what, 8 or 9 minutes.
You don't. They.
You
Okay,
might not
what about
even
the-
know
if-
what's
if
going
everyone,
on.
If every one of them knew that he was gonna die,
Okay.
none of them would have done it.
Okay,
Yeah.
so how about this?
We
How about this?
didn't
Then?
know
What
that
about the
that
other 2
was
guys? What about the other 2 guys then? Okay, you have one guy that's new.
Okay, all right, and then the other two, it goes back to that whole like mentality of like, hey, I'm not gonna sit here and like grandstand on this guy, especially when they don't have the assumption that it's gonna kill him. Like, I don't care how racist they are. Let's say every one of them was KKK.
Yep.
If they knew that this was going to be the outcome from sitting on his neck
Of course,
for
they
8
wouldn't
minutes,
have done
they
it.
wouldn't have done
Right.
it.
I
So
agree.
that's why they were like, oh, it's a bad look to sit on this guy's back for this long, but it's not going to kill him. Like, I'll talk to him after the fact or whatnot, but I'm not
Well,
going to.
Sean, I agree with you because I saw a
I'm
video
not saying
last
it's
year.
right. I'm not saying it's right, but I'm just like, I'm putting myself in their mindset, like what they're going through.
Yeah.
But
I
the
also
thing that
read
the-
an article by a previous police officer who was going through and said like the article was called "I used to be a bastard cop," right? And that was
Oh yeah,
that
I
was
saw
the whole
that. I read
thing.
that article.
And
Yeah.
it was just him going through like his history of being a police officer and how like just like you said, like they're brothers in arms and like
Yep.
they're trained from the beginning not to snitch on each other. Like in training, they saw some people bullying other people and said something, and then the top officer went and like in front of everybody was like, this guy's trying to like snitch on all you guys over here, and like basically put him on blast, right? Like, like you like are built into this culture, like, and like you're trained in the beginning to like have each other's back.
Yeah,
So it's hard.
going back to our culture, though.
We're pretty good friends. We're pretty good friends. Let's say that I start insider trading on a company. Are you guys really gonna be like, oh, all right, Sean, we're gonna report you?
No, I want.
No,
some.
I wouldn't say that though.
I want a piece of that.
Yeah, you would say stop, but you wouldn't report me.
No,
and
of
at the end of the day, there's probably cops that do like step out on the branch a little bit and say like, hey, maybe you shouldn't do that. And they're like, hey, rookie, or hey, like clean cut guy, like shut the fuck up, get out of my face.
It's like, also easier to look away than say something.
Yeah.
But I mean,
I'm not saying it's right, but that's what's happening.
You know, I agree with Sean to a certain degree. I agree with because there was an article that I read and a video that I saw of literally a white cop on a white male doing the same exact thing for twice a long period of time. It was 14 minutes. Literally, their knees on the neck, and he passed away as well. And this was last year, I believe. And literally, like, what happened is that no one talked about it because maybe perhaps it wasn't a big issue back then. But I think this police brutality affects every single race, I believe. I think this George Floyd it affects. I'm saying it affects every single race, but I'm saying that affects at the minority.
I know, but it affects every race. But like, look at the proportion of the race.
Well,
like that's what is the issue
like,
here.
You look at the like African American population and you compare it to like how many are in jail. You look at the fact that marijuana is legal now. People are making millions. Actually, no. White people are making millions off of
and they're still in jail. So those people are still in jail, though.
Yeah, and the people are still in jail.
Yeah,
like,
I agree.
Yeah, and a lot of them on petty offenses, like a couple ounces and shit.
Yeah.
So,
Well, I mean, I'm not. Again, all I'm saying is that I do believe it affects every single race police brutality, but I'm not saying that it doesn't affect the majority.
I know you're not building an argument of all lives matter. I get that, but
but going back to what you're saying though, right earlier, in terms of like that whole kneeling in the cuffing. Yeah, if they knew the outcome, they would have done it. But they've seen other cops in the past do it. You know what I mean? Like it's not a first time thing. Which like probably why they did it.
Which goes back to like
cops
training.
Have done it where they didn't kill anyone. So
right, which goes back to
right.
training where they need to know how much.
But they've seen it where they killed people before too, though. It wasn't a big deal back then, though. I mean, police camps more now available now. When it become required? I forgot when it became required to wear a police camp. I think last 4 or 5 years. Now everything's becoming more and more visible. That's the only reason why.
You know what? I have
the police cam. It's a lot of people that are just like doing like shots after the fact.
That's true. Yeah.
Like I don't know how many police cam footages we've seen that have gone like viral. Most of the footages have been like from bystanders.
Yeah. That's true.
Well, but at least, the things that you can still see because they're public records, so therefore they had to release them, and then you can watch the after effect of it. You're right. A lot of stuff up from bystanders though that goes viral though. Yeah. But I mean, again, all I'm saying is, I mean, the whole situation. I mean, it could have been prevented. You're right. It could be a culture change. It has to be a culture change, and definitely has to do with some of the training, But
I think the biggest thing, like I think a phased approach works, but the biggest thing is time. Whether we're talking about like
10 years,
equal right, no, it's probably a lot longer. I mean, it sucks. But, like people need to be in for the long haul. Like everybody wants like the quick fix. Everyone's P90X. Like I want to lose like body fat here. I want to be rich tomorrow. Like
instant gratification, man.
Like
gratification.
That's the American way, and it's not going to happen that way. Like people need to like roll up their sleeves and truly do like what the American way is supposed to do and like build themselves up for the bootstraps. Like there's going to take a lot of work and effort. I honestly, the reason why I'm pessimistic about it is because I know people are lazy. I know people aren't going to, stick to their guns and say,
people are
hey,
lazy.
I'm going to do this every day, day in, day out. This is part of who I am.
Also, that instant gratification thing also goes towards politics because they have
they need
they
to show
have 2
something.
years, 4 years to do something, so they
Yeah.
have to show some progress,
That's
which
true.
you can't do.
Unless you're in Supreme Court, lifetime.
Oh, I guess,
That's true.
yeah. So that's where we got to get people to like get this stuff going is in the Supreme Court. But yeah, like most of the politicians are in it for a certain short amount of time, and if they don't get anything done, then they have risk losing their seat. So then
Yeah.
they have to, like it has to
Hey,
be
listen,
something.
not Orlando's mayor, Buddy Dyer. How long has he been in office for? Hang on, let me look this up. Orlando mayor's been in the office for I think over 16 years, if I remember correctly.
But he's doing a great job. He's buying tanks and shit. He's doing a great
right?
job.
Hang on, Orlando Buddy mayor's. Let me see how long he's been in the party since. He's been mayor since 2003.
2003, 17
How long-
years.
17 years. Look, let's what he has changed. He can change stuff, right? Listen, I mean, I think you're right in terms of it's going to be it might require generations, just of different movement. And you're right, people are lazy, but I think we can't count on in terms of. I mean, to be honest, it takes one person to change a lot of stuff, but ultimately, I just
No. It takes one person to light a torch.
Light a torch. I agree. Yeah. But I think the torch has been lit, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, but
It's been lit a few times.
Yeah,
So,
it's like
so we'll see how far it
the flame
goes.
stay?
It's been lit a few times, but I mean, I think it's even this time around though, just because there's more attention and it's under the microscope as well. I feel like this fire is a lot bigger than before. So,
Here hope.
all right, Robert. I think
All right.
we need to segue into the funny thing.
Yeah, so I sent you guys a link. I'm gonna
Send us a link.
switch over. Yeah.
All right, let me see.
Since we're on politics and everything, thought this would be funny.
Nice.
For those listening, it says, "Don't need a wall if no one wants to come to your country because of your incompetent leadership during the pandemic."
It's so true. Europe is banned America from coming.
What countries have already said that they're not accepting Americans
Europe.
anymore?
I think Europe. Yeah. I think Mexico's next probably.
Yeah, didn't Trump just got rid of all the work visas?
Yeah.
So he's kicking all the smart people out.
Yeah, that's kind of crazy. I just don't understand. We need to do a separate podcast on immigration as well. Like,
it's
a completely different
It's
subject.
another list. Yeah, of topics for sure.
Yeah.
All right, so check out mine out. This is I feel like maybe karma, but I'm not sure.
Karma.
Look at the video of. So there was a big like hailstorm I think a couple of days ago in Beijing.
Hold on.
And it's the size of a golf ball, even bigger than a golf ball. There's a bunch of videos, literally people just posting it and their Twitter's account, whatever it is, and then they look at the images. It looks like a coronavirus.
The hailstorm looks like a coronavirus.
Yeah, seriously, look at the images.
Yeah, pretty bad.
It's is that karma?
This is in China.
This is in Beijing. Exactly. This just happened a couple of days ago, June 25th. Look at the images of the size of it looks like a coronavirus. It's so crazy.
Oh my god.
I mean, I feel like someone is playing a game on humanity right now. Literally, like they're screwing us. Like they're kind of in a simulation. Hey, what can we throw this human being? And see what they think of.
We probably are in the Matrix, and this is some sort of Sims game. They're like, you know what?
We're at the fucked up level right now.
It's on like extra hard right now. it's insane level. They're like, you know what? Let's add Trump to the mix. Let's add coronavirus.
All right. But before we hop off of this, like, how many is everybody like a little bit concerned about like when this first started happening? I play a lot of like post-apocalyptic games, like bombs and everything. Like, was anybody concerned about like shit really, really breaking down and like people just being out in the streets,
like
rioting?
Law and Order?
Yeah.
So, truly speaking, I do have a gold bag. I do have my arm concealed weapons and stuff like that because I used to be an armed security guard.
Yeah.
So I'm a little bit prepared for that, just because from the aspect of it, I am scareless from my parents. That's the reason why I fled to Florida first. Immediately, as soon as I was done with Vegas, I fled to Florida, and all my stuff is here anyway, like my bag, things like that. So I quarantined myself for 3 weeks. I think the whole when the looting started happening, I think a little bit scared my parents a little bit more, but I was there already at least. So yeah, to a certain degree, um, shit
mean,
can go really fast though. I agree. It
yeah,
can go south really
you
fast.
start taking people's jobs. You start telling, especially for Floridians, hey,
Yeah.
you got to stay inside. You got to wear a mask. Like people are gonna rebel and buck at a certain point. Like I don't have a job to go to. I don't have money to get food on the table.
Yeah.
I'm gonna find a way to get money.
Yeah.
Find a way to get food on the table.
That's true.
Well, and that's the reason why I think Florida had to open up. To be honest, part of it because unemployment running out, but also is that Florida's built on hospitality and tourism, right? And literally, that's what 60% of the industry that's gone out of 2 months, and those people live paycheck to paycheck.
Yeah,
And
that's true.
I feel like they have no choice though. I mean, um, overall, I mean, I just saying like it can go sideways really fast though. So
I don't know. Yeah,
all right.
I guess it's a
So
worry, but let's go. Let's move on. We're gonna start talking about something that we all love. We all love NBA here, right?
Yep.
And they just announced.
Well, I'm a Laker fan, so.
You're a Laker fan, but a LeBron hater, so it's like you're in a mixed bag right now.
I know,
So,
right?
No.
How do you feel about LeBron about that, by the way? How do you feel LeBron being in the Lakers? I'm just curious.
LeBron is a great human being, but he's a horrible basketball player. He's a horrible.
Why?
No, he's a great basketball player, but he's
a
just
great
like trash.
basketball
He's just a trash person off the court. I hate him. I hope.
Wait,
he doesn't.
what do you say off
Wow,
the court? though?
really?
Hang on,
You're gonna
hang on,
say
wait,
that?
hang on. Before we go into the detail, why do you say off the court specifically though?
All right, I'll admit
So
it.
much. He's done so much.
Very, very easy. I'm a Kobe fan.
Okay.
It starts and begins there. He came in the league. Everybody wanted to say he was better than Kobe, better than like everybody else that was ahead of him at that point. And
Is he better than Kobe though?
He's not better than Kobe.
All right, let's end there. All right,
Five rings versus 3.
All right, let's not go. Let's not dig.
Yeah,
anymore.
let's move on. Let's like talk about what's actually happening.
All right, so NBA is actually restarting on July 30th, right?
Mhm.
And how do you guys see this happening? First of all, it's happening in Orlando, Florida. FYI.
Great
Yeah.
place.
Great
Place for it to happen.
Right. First, and what do you think is going to happen? I mean, you think most players will show up and play? I mean, we started hearing some players not actually deciding not to play.
Yeah, but it's a couple players.
It's only a few
not lot.
players, and it's pretty personal. Like all the stuff that they're doing is pretty personal. Some of it's like they don't want to get injured. Some of them is like they want to see their family. They have like family issues that they need to do.
That's true.
I don't think anybody is like looking down at any of these players that don't want to play. So and it's not
how
so
about
little.
This, pros and cons. What's the pro as a con about NBA restarting?
I think it makes people happier. It gives them something to focus on. It gets like
When The
you
Last
think about-
Dance was coming out, like that was like everything. Like
was
everybody
epic.
was
That was
watching it
epic.
because it was the only new content that they could see that was like sports related, right?
Yeah.
And it just makes people happier to watch sports. Like it's just something.
Yeah. Like
entertaining.
we need some positivity. You think about like Rome why they started the gladiator sports was because everybody was poor. Everybody was like upset from all the wars that were going on. This was just something for them to just like, hey, this is something to do like every day to just like watch people go out and fight. We can watch people go play basketball. Like there's literally nothing to do. Like a lot of people that are still like people aren't working. The people that are working, all they're doing is working because they're like, fuck it, I don't have anything to do.
Yeah.
Just gives them something to do. Like
But what's the con about it though?
The con is like they could all get coronavirus.
They all get
well,
coronavirus.
no. That's only a con. Like, what if LeBron gets coronavirus and nobody else gets coronavirus?
See, that's a pro for you. I guess that's a pro on your side.
Well, listen. Okay, let's be honest, right? So if someone tests positive, right, which some players have test positive, okay, and how do you cancel the games? What do you do? Like, how do you limit the players, right? How are they gonna handle that? I think at the end of the day, the league is walking into like a tightrope process because they're gonna try to cramp this as much as possible in the next 2 3 weeks.
Yeah, so if you look at the schedule already, just like starting, they want to start playing games on, was it July 30th? To, and then they're going to play for 15 days of games, and each day has back to back games for the whole 15 days. Like, it's going to be crazy. Let me send you guys this, the link to the
So
schedule.
I'm gonna save all my PTO for the start of the NBA.
Yeah, it's just a crazy amounts of the games that they're going to be playing. It's just going to be ridiculous.
I mean, honestly, I think they've gotten the testing to a point where they can do a really quick turnaround. It's not super exclusive right now. I think the push to do it before was like, hey, we're giving all these NBA players tests when there's like people that are dying, people that are old, people that are sick or weak. You know, that's not the case now. Everyone can get a test. So I think with that ability to like figure out who potentially has corona,
They
I don't
but
I don't really
the
see I don't see the cons. Like, yes, if someone catches corona and like
they
you
just don't
handle
play.
that situation, you isolate it, and it goes like this year is gonna go for asterisk regardless. So it doesn't really matter.
Right,
Close
right.
out the season.
Yeah. They did say I did watch somewhere where they were saying that one of the loops the loopholes in their like bubble is that the people that they have that Disney has to like cook food for the players and like do stuff are not going to be also quarantined in that bubble.
Really?
So they're going to be able to go out to the world, come back and like cook dinner for them and then go back out each day. So like it's like how does that like that's like a hole in your bubble right there. Like I thought it was supposed to be very very contained.
Yeah. I mean, another negative is like what happens with the players. Like, you're telling these players to leave their homes, leave their families, and or bring some of their families, which is an inconvenience.
2 weeks
That's
later.
true.
Stay, yeah,
Yeah.
to stay in some of these accommodations that by far I probably would be insulted to live in, let alone a millionaire.
I don't know.
Well,
Some of them
I
they're
mean,
pretty
guys,
nice
free Disney
places,
World
right?
passes. Listen, free Disney World passes for the family. Okay, what else do you want?
They're also opening the
Uh,
parks up after hours
Yeah,
for the players.
yeah. After
I don't know. I saw some of the rooms. Some of the rooms look like
No, but like
Holiday
the
Inn.
so they put players into different hotels based on their seating and based on
Yep.
how well they think they're gonna do. So like the Lebron got the top suite that he could get, right? But then the players on like the I don't know who's like in the bottom tier, the
I don't know,
Wizards or
but there's
whatever.
bottom. But
Are
there's
So
like
hang
top
on,
tier
I can tell
players
you.
that
Hang
are
on, let
like
me tell you.
playing.
Let me tell you.
Yeah, yeah. So like CP3. So
CP3 is I mean, he's in the
CP3,
Thunders, right? He's
yeah,
with the
Thunder.
Thunders.
yeah, they're pretty low. So he's supposed to just like sit in a Holiday Inn suite, two beds,
Well, they're all
two
at
twin beds.
Disney, right? So
They're all at Disney hotels. Though. They're
No,
all
no, no. I
massive.
mean, but I saw some of those rooms. Not all the
some of the
rooms, just
rooms
because
are,
it
are
said
really
Disney.
bad. Some of the
Yeah,
rooms are really bad.
They're regular rooms, guys. Okay, they gotta be regular people, you know.
yeah.
Like my apartment's decorated better than these, and this is Disney. Disney's supposed to be like the top of the
Well,
line. Right?
listen. First of all, have you? Okay, here. Let me show you guys where everyone is staying. Okay, here's the link, so that way we're not misinforming the audience. Okay, so here's the
Okay,
link of
let's.
all that where all everyone's staying. So Milwaukee Bucks, Los Angeles Lakers, the Raptors, the Clippers, the Celtics, the Nuggets, the Heat, the Jazz. It looks like the first two seeded in the team, each division, is staying at the Grand Destino. Okay. Okay, the Thunders are staying at Grand Floridian. By the way,
Wait. So they have that many suites for?
yeah, dude, yeah, it's huge. Grand Destino is huge. Same thing with the
Okay,
Grand Floridian.
The yacht
okay.
club is the one where like it has
Okay,
really bad rooms.
first of all, the Griaco's not that bad. I've been there before. I worked there before. Okay, it's really the Grand Floridian is amazing. I
No,
think
Grand
You
Floridian is
sound
super
you
nice.
sound like that 14-year-old that's been to Europe 3 times in
Yeah.
1 year.
No, Grand Floridian is nice. Grand Destino is nice, but that yacht club, I don't know. Some of those rooms are pretty shit.
look at the map. There's a map of where everyone's staying, so they're pretty far away from each other. So
Yeah, but well, this is my point. Forget the poor accommodations. Some of these players, yes, Swaggy P and the like are gonna have money and say, I want to leave or I want to bring someone in. You know,
That's true.
what's stopping the security guard that's getting paid
$10
40,
an hour, $15 an hour.
like or less thousand a year?
Like
Be like, hey,
35,000 a year.
here's 10K. Let this girl in. Let this person in.
Nothing. Of course, nothing. You know that.
Yeah,
I would totally
and
want to be a
and
security guard there.
But if they get caught, though, let me tell you, if they get caught, let me tell you, they're in
but
trouble.
again, you're making $50,000 a year. Like you can find another
No, no,
job.
no.
where you
I'm
can
talking
make
about. I'm talking about if
$50,000.
the NBA team finds out, the owner finds out, things like that, they get fined. NBA fines can fine them. To be honest, I think that's probably like.
They're not gonna find a person that's making 50. The security guard that's letting them in.
Not the security guard.
They're
I'm talking
gonna-
about the player. I'm talking
Okay,
about the player.
Yeah,
but
but
what
then
does
the
that mean?
players paid.
But
The
but
players getting paid
yeah,
already.
yeah,
That's true. Yeah.
yeah.
The fines are so low compared to their salaries. Like,
What they're gonna do? Suspend them for the rest of the year?
yeah. Oh my
Oh,
god.
they're gonna suspend LeBron. They're gonna suspend.
Yeah. Yeah, and if it's a big name player, they're gonna do nothing. They're like, oh, here, $100,000. It's a big fine, $100,000, and he's making 30 million a year. So, what are you gonna do?
No, I completely I completely agree on that part.
I,
I mean, I'm just excited for basketball, guys. To be
I think
honest.
do it the same way that Florida and the other states are just pushing through. Like just try to be smarter about
Yeah.
it, but just like push through. I think it'll be good. I don't think it's going to distract from the protests and a lot of things that are going on. I think that I think
Yeah.
it's needed, and I mean I think a
Six
lot of the
games
NBA.
per day, isn't it 6 games per day, something like that? They're gonna play 6 games at a time, something like that.
Yeah,
For
it's
the
like
first
March
2 weeks.
Madness.
Every day
Isn't-
they're gonna
I
have
can't
a
wait.
game.
Dude, I'm not gonna do any work.
I mean,
there's some
have-
games that
have
are
we been
they're
doing that
like
much
two
work?
at a time, two at a time.
But regardless, I wish fantasy basketball had kept up by now, but obviously that's not the case. But I
We should
mean,
we should have gone with my rule set for how we won the fantasy basketball is like whoever has the most number of players that get tested positive with coronavirus wins. I think that would have been the best.
wait, who was the first one that tested positive? It was
From the Jazz.
Gobert,
the Jazz.
Yeah,
Not the Jazz.
Gobert.
The Jazz. Gobert. Yeah, the
Yeah.
Jazz.
the guy that cried last year because they didn't make the All Star team.
Yeah,
But I mean, the whole team got it, in a sense. And I mean, I
Donovan
think
Mitchell
Twitter-
got it because of
whoever-
him too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean,
I mean, there's no way to tell for sure if it was him that like gave it to him, but
Really, like everyone
You never
being
know.
I can see Donovan
He
Mitchell
got blamed
being
for it.
being very like cautious about not getting it, and Rudy Gobert not giving a shit, and then
because you and Donovan Mitchell are close friends. You're better friends with him than you are
BFF.
with me.
He's
You're
BFF.
cheating on me. You're
Yeah.
cheating on me.
yeah, that's true.
Listen, he can have a second BFF. But Sean, truly though, are you gonna watch any of those games though? Are you gonna spend most of the time working?
I'm gonna. I just started a new job. I'm trying not to get fired. It's COVID season.
That's
Sorry.
I'll-
I wait
I'll
for the
wa-
playoffs.
I'll watch
I'll
the
wait till the playoffs.
highlights. I'll watch highlights.
Listen,
and then
this is
playoffs.
gonna lead all the way to August, the playoff.
Plus, all right. One big thing that I think we're missing over. I don't know if I'm just the only one. I canceled my television subscription. I had already cut the cord. I haven't had cable for years, but I cut my PlayStation View. I cut my Hulu
NBA
TV.
Pass League, really?
Yeah, because what's the point? I mean, I didn't have NBA Pass League, but I had like a Hulu TV, a YouTube TV. I cut it because what's the point? There's no new like shows and movies which I wasn't really watching. The only reason I was keeping it was for like sports because I like
Hey,
to watch sports.
So
And
for
it's
me,
like what do I want to do? I want to watch Stephen A. Smith like 4 times a day on ESPN. Like, no.
Skip Bayless, man. Don't you love Skip Bayless?
Oh my god, he's on Fox, isn't he? Nobody even
Yeah,
watches
he's on
that.
Fox. Yeah, nobody watches that. So, so I think this will be something good for the economy for the broadcast because like as much as I say like oh these millionaire players or these millionaire like people that are on TV like they need a job and they need to get
Well,
Yeah,
I think
Comcast needs the money. That's what it is.
yeah.
yeah,
They need to
that's
get
true,
paid too.
Well, I think for Florida would be good too as well, to be honest, though, because just getting some job back locally, get some people at least watching, at least going to managing the events, security guard, things like that. Just get some jobs, just get some movement active. And part of it is that you're right. I think this could be just the perfect escape for people just to start, because I mean, listen, Premier League soccer started like in mid-June. I follow soccer a little bit, so most people didn't know that it started already in Europe.
I had no
So
idea.
yeah, see, and I thought it was pretty cool. My roommate follows soccer, and I watched it, but just because I if I have basketball between
There's
soccer and
nothing else.
basketball,
There's nothing
yeah,
else.
there's nothing else. Yeah, you're right. You're right. And that's the truth. The only time I watch the Premier Soccer League is when it's the championship game. That's it. That's the only time I watch it. To be honest, I follow here and there, but not as close as I follow NBA. So
There's something else that's starting up in Vegas, right? Is it like MLB or something?
the baseball
Not MLB.
spring training. I think spring training starting. Spring training.
No, I heard they've still been back and forth on that.
Yeah, I don't.
I could
I
be
heard
wrong.
baseball's like
Yeah.
they're still like
It
in
might be
negotiations.
Yeah.
Maybe hockey is what's starting up, but there's
No,
something.
Hockey is
I mean,
starting
hockey
for
needs
sure.
the money, so
Yeah, but
So,
there's somewhere else that's starting up in Vegas as well. So it's good for those like economies, I guess.
yeah,
Like
like
the local
at the
economies.
end of the day,
So,
people need to make money. Like we're spending money on like reimbursement checks, like people that are getting like unemployment. We need money to like come in. Like you think about next year, it's like if 20% of people are like laid off and they have no revenue like from last year, so they're not paying taxes. Like, what are we gonna do? Like,
that's true.
people need to make money.
It
No,
just
I
comes
completely
out of our check. That's all it is. It's
Oh,
good.
joy!
Jack up
Well-
our taxes.
I love being middle America.
Yeah, middle class is the best class to be in at all times.
All right, so so spring training is starting in July, so is the hockey training too.
But I feel like all of this is like even the NBA, like even the NBA saying they're gonna start like the end of July. Like it's all conditioned. Like it's a long way away. Like Florida just had like the highest,
Record
like-
breaking
yeah.
coronavirus cases.
Yeah.
So
So
It's
like
old news. That
we-
you know that those results from last week, right?
okay, fake news, Trump. But yeah,
No. But I mean, there is a 5 day. I mean, imagine that if this is a 5 day delay of cases, imagine next week. It's gonna be even higher. If you think about it.
yeah. But I don't know. I'm just like kind of wary of like anything moving forward. Like as everything just looks like it's not getting better.
So does this scare you of start going to a sports event?
no,
I
who's
mean,
gonna go to a sports event?
Yeah.
Who's gonna go?
So let's say that college
Oh,
football.
Floridian.
Hang on.
The people that
So-
need to let their vagina breathe.
Wait. Hang on. So
They're
let's
gonna
say
have
that
10
college
seats in
football
between them to
happens,
let
okay?
that vagina breathe a lot.
Wait,
Man,
hang on. Let's say that college football does allow students to attend to the games. Will you not go?
I haven't gone
just-
in a long time,
Yeah,
so
and I said I didn't go when my team won 2 national
That's
championships.
true.
So
Let's see. Yeah.
wrong crowd.
yeah, you're in the
Yeah,
wrong
but-
crowd for that.
Read the audience. Read the audience.
Okay, fine. How about this? If you have free Laker tickets to go to a Laker game in Orlando, you would not go.
Am I sitting courtside?
Yeah,
What am I getting?
courtside, you get
Is
food.
LeBron will
drinks.
give you a high five?
Yeah, LeBron will give you a high five.
That's a reason to not go.
But anyway, fine. Courtside tickets for free. You would not go. There's no one sitting next to you. There's It's a 6 feet apart rule. Okay, the social distance happening.
Again, I'm just not the right audience. I love having the best seat in the house.
Is it from your home?
Yeah.
That's true.
Plus, you get commentators to tell you what's happening,
Yeah.
give you stats and stuff. They should have that courtside. Like once the Apple glasses come out, you can see those. They're gonna have stats.
I thought some of them had the radio thing. You could put in your ear and just hear them talking. Some of those courtside seats.
I don't know. I've been courtside, but I've never heard I never had anybody bring up something like that.
Oh, you didn't get a stat sheet run for you?
No,
So-
no. Nobody brought the stat sheet to me. I'm pretty upset. I was like, this is not worth it.
Listen, at least you had the opportunity to sit courtside. I never sat courtside my entire life. So both of you guys are lucky though.
I don't know. The only time that all 3 of us went to a game together, you ended up sitting like on the 5th row while we were on like the 60th row. So I don't know.
What do you mean? Wait.
When we
What
went to
was
that Orlando Magic game that one time, we all were supposed to buy like in the same block, and you for whatever reason, like there were seats open next to us,
Yeah.
and we were like, "Where are you at, Wong? Where are you at, Wong?" And you were like 20 rows ahead of us.
That was by accident.
Mm,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
What
It,
do you
it, it was
mean?
bad technology then.
I said,
Yeah.
first of all, I paid for the same amount of money as you guys did. Okay, it just happened. To be honest, all right. I don't know what happened. To be
But
honest.
that's not even the case. Like it doesn't matter how much you paid for it. Like we're all going together.
Yeah, I didn't pick the ticket. It's not like I picked, give me this seat. Give me this exact seat because I don't want to sit with my friends. Let me tell you.
We don't know. We don't know what you said. We don't know what you brought up. What kind of dirt you had on them.
All right.
Added to the fact there were empty seats next to us. And you never for the whole game came up to say, "Hey, hi, how's it going?"
First of all, wait. Was I with somebody else or no? Just wondering.
Probably, but still.
I don't remember this incident.
Yeah. You were with a girl. You were with a girl at the time.
I really don't remember this incident. I'll be honest with you. If you want me to.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
But anyway, all right. So overall, we both agree at least, basketball coming back, is something good. I mean, hopefully they don't catch coronavirus in the middle of playoffs, so that way at least have a decent playoff run.
Or the Lakers can get it, but
Only the
you
Lakers
know,
can
like
get it.
I just don't want like
No. The perfect storm is for LeBron to get it, and
Lakers to win, and they don't give him a ring.
to still find a way to pull it out.
No.
Like,
I don't even want it on his record that he won another one. So
Wait, guys. Do you think this? So if the team that wins the NBA championship, do you think this championship will mean anything though?
of course,
No.
it still means a championship.
It's
No,
still a chip. It's still a chip, but it's
Would it mean something,
definitely
though?
tainted.
okay, you could say it's tainted.
Actually, I want LeBron to win it because then that's like more of a bigger like asterisk against them.
See,
It's he has 3.5.
No, but like you can say all this stuff about like it being tainted, but it like 20 years from now, no one's gonna look back at this year and say, "Oh, that champion doesn't count," right? Like you go look at the lockout seasons that they had, like when the Spurs won. They don't take that away from the Spurs, even though it's a shortened season. Like it's still
That's
like gonna
true.
count. A chip is a chip.
Yeah. That's true. And I think with the brutality of how many games going on back-to-back games and such a short time, I think it's a little bit harder on the body, especially if they haven't been conditioned. You know what I mean? They've been well rested though, so now injuries are not as prone. I think, at least to a certain degree. But we'll see. I mean, only time can tell. But at the same time, though, I feel like with the players have such a long rest, I think we're gonna see more competitive games because they actually won. Push for the playoff run, push to get this over with. So
All right, last thing.
So that all being said, like who does everybody want to win?
Yes, that was my last thing.
Oh.
Last thing,
Oh,
who's
see,
gonna
look
win?
At that. I'm
Ooh.
producer now. I'm producer. Guest host and
how about
producer.
this? All right, how about this? Okay, in the final, I would love to see the Heat against Lakers.
Oh my God.
However, it's not gonna happen. Okay, I think the Bucks will beat the Heat in 7 in the Eastern Final, and I think to be honest, it
You
depends
say
how
Bucks
healthy-
Heat? Bucks Heat is
No,
the Eastern Finals?
Yeah,
Okay.
you don't think so?
No.
No, really. Who do you think is the final?
No. I
Who do
think
you
it's
think?
gonna be
Raptors?
Bucks Boston.
Really, Bucks Boston?
Bucks
I think the-
Boston in the East.
I feel like the Raptor has a higher chance at the Boston Celtics, to be honest.
I don't know. Jason Tatum was killing it towards
Oh, no, I
right
agree.
before
I'm
it stopped. So I
Yeah.
feel like he was like getting to a point where like he could be taking it over the top. But
I feel like
think
on the West though,
Yeah.
how about you? I think Lakers and Clippers.
Lakers Clippers, that's a good choice. Like it's really hard to disagree with that.
I think depending on how well the Clippers and how fit they are, I think the Clippers can beat them because they beat them in regular season.
I don't know. Like their two injury-prone guys have been like on rest for a long time now. So
Yeah.
I know. I feel like the Bucks are gonna win it all.
you're kind of like cranking up the engine on those two guys though, having them play like so many games so quickly.
Yeah.
They literally can't do the just like not play.
Okay. So I can see the Clippers winning everything, realistically speaking, just because. Imagine if Kawhi did that, guys. Imagine that.
Thing
Do
is,
you
like,
think?
yeah, you like. I can see Kawhi like
Me
rampant,
too.
like going crazy. I can see it,
You know what I mean? He did that with the
but
Raptors in
I
one
think
year.
I think Giannis is
needs
too
he
good.
needs a running mate, and I don't see
What?
Paul George
Playoff
doing it.
P.
Wait,
Yeah,
hang on. Wait, hang
yeah,
on.
elimination game, 13 points. No, it
No,
wasn't
that's
13
Wait,
points.
hang
no
on.
CC no. Hey everyone, it's Robert in post production. At this point in the podcast, my laptop overheated and crashed, so I'm missing about the last 10 minutes or so of content. Also, Mike's recording failed as well, so we don't have anything past this point. We want to apologize to all you still listening. We're going to work on doing our best at getting through these technical difficulties and finish up one of these podcasts, hopefully. We want to thank Sean for joining us. You can find him on Instagram at s.white. Dot is spelled out, so SDOTWHITE. We'll have links in the description. Also, we'd love to hear any of your comments. So we're at GFO Thoughts on all social media platforms. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time. Peace.